What's going on, geeks? You're listening to episode 339 of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. My name is Cody Armour. I'm here with Shelley Nollan.
Hello.
And Lj.Lowery.
Cowabunga.
This week we are geeking out about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Hollywood's view of Christianity. That coming up. But first, level up event I feel like was a success.
Yeah.
That's
if
awesome.
you did not catch the talks, I will have them on YouTube as soon as possible. They'll probably be up by the time that you hear this.
I do have him in our feed.
I think. So, and yeah, if you are, subscribed to the podcast channel through your favorite podcast app, then you can listen to them through the podcast app as well.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. I was really excited.
It was
about
a really
it.
fun
I can't wait
weekend.
for next year already. Already thinking about next year, which is crazy.
It was a great time.
It was really good.
I want to highlight Danny doing worship.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did great.
So powerful.
That was awesome.
I woke up from my nap
He
like
was so
right when he
nervous about it,
started.
and I was like, dude, he was my favorite.
Yeah.
I know, and I could tell he's nervous, but then he was getting into it. I'm like, yeah,
Oh, dude, yeah, seeing him get into it was just like, yeah, bro. Yeah.
It was.
Plus,
very
he was
powerful.
having to work his computer while also playing guitar. That just, from an entire different standpoint, that was impressive to me. I'm just he was moving down the probably the lyrics, looking at the music, probably had it on his computer. But I'm like, dude, you're multitasking. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredibly talented. He almost didn't even make it on. I was so busy with everything else that was going on with that thing, and so he messaged me a week before. I was like, so am I? We had talked about it before very briefly. He said, you want me to do that or not? And I'm like, dude, if I have time, I don't know. And I'm so thankful that he kind of
Reached
I
out.
really want to do it. That would be really cool. I'm like, all
Heck
right,
yeah.
we'll get you in. And we figured it out a few days before. And I was so thankful that we did, because I was just so focused on everything else that I wasn't paying attention
Right.
to.
Yeah.
Could have missed out on an amazing opportunity for everyone.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
It was a dub.
Yeah.
Oh,
The whole
yeah.
thing.
Yep. We love you, Danny. That was awesome. You should have been there. Is what we're saying. If you weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we can get the talks on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, which should be youtube.com/geeksundergrace. Pretty sure. From there, though, we'll get into the video games we've been playing. LJ, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so I'll continue since we're talking about the level up event. I actually I closed out the event. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, Central. I closed it out with Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yes, sir.
And, oh my gosh, that game is indeed rough. It really is. But it feels like there's shades of things that it does really nice. I'm this. They had something going here, but it's kind of a mess. The thing I couldn't
It'll never get a remaster,
No.
but I bet a remaster would do really well. It would be,
That'd be cool.
a good game.
and I feel like I had a hard time getting the bonus objectives, because I think to get the different endings or to go the different routes, you actually need to complete those certain objectives.
Yes.
And so I was kind of at first I wasn't worried about it, but then I was like, wait, I thought it was just a morality thing, depending on what enemies you defeat. But then I'm like, no, it's the objectives. And so I kept trying, and I was like, I'm just wasting time. This is kind of boring, because we did have a few people watching that late, and so it's let me just play through it. And so I actually beat that game in 2 hours. I did not expect it to be that short.
And there's multiple endings, right?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, the objectives get
But so
really
then,
difficult.
so then I'm like, wait, this is kind of tradition, because I know, Cody, you've beat a Sonic game or two during one of these events, in one night, and I'm just
Yes.
this just fits.
It's like Cat Mario. It's just tradition,
The ending, I guess it's an old game, but I just laughed, at the ending, him and, what is it, Gamma just basically just take out Robotnik, and just, that's it, They straight up just kill him.
And that's the base. So you can do you can follow Robotnik, and that's the evil path.
I got
And
the
then Sonic's got a bunch of stuff that he'll have you do, and that puts you on
yes,
a path.
and there's different. So you switch between the objectives between at least one other character in each map. So one map was Knuckles and the alien or whatever, and then one of them was Robotnik and Gamma and stuff like that. But it does feel like that game just kind of goes out of left field, out of nowhere. It's oh, what happened to the alien invasion? Like, that's not even a thing anymore? Or,
Yeah.
like, it was...
That's funny.
I'm just like, I do want to play more of it again to see the other endings, like, or to see the other levels.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, this is weird. They basically just... like, nope. We're gonna kill you, Robotnik. Like, and like,
I remember I tried playing it after Sonic Frontier, or not Sonic Frontier, Sonic 06 when I beat that game. I was like, all right, next up is Shadow, the second worst Sonic game, and the first level was so broken for me. I would try to jump and it would like not let me jump where I wanted to.
The worst was when you try to...
and the camera wouldn't do what I needed
the
it to.
Enemies, dude. So I would try to do like jump on the enemies and like, you know, do that, and then I would just end up jumping off the map. Like, you have no control where you jump, and I would just fly off.
Yeah,
I'm just
you
like,
fly and you're like, okay.
I mean, like, there were shades where I'm like, of like, oh, okay, they had something going here, but that was just kind of it. Like, I was just like, okay. I'm like, this is kind of terrible, but also I'm not mad that I played.
Remaster the game.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm like,
make it easier on PC.
I'm not mad that they like. I wasn't mad at it after a while. I'm like, okay, I actually kind of enjoyed myself in a weird way. Like, I'm like, I know this is bad. Yeah, so that was fun. The other thing I did play in a single night, me and my buddy Spacehawk on our streams played the next Dark Pictures anthology game, which is called Little Hope, and it's basically old like Salem witch trial kind of themed stuff. But that one stars Will Poulter. The first one starred Shawn Ashmore, but Will Poulter is really, really good in this. I think this may be one of my favorite stories in a Dark Pictures anthology game.
Oh, cool.
I just really love it. Gets really into psychological horror. Which I feel like the other games, at least so far what I've played of the other games, it didn't really feel that way. I mean, I guess this one feels more, yeah, like there was no, usually there's some kind of thing or some kind of reveal, but the kind of the big twist in this game was very psychological, and I really loved it for that. And I'm like, this is cool. Because I have played House of Ashes in the past, but this one, I'm like, this might be my favorite. I still highly recommend playing these with friends, especially if you want to like have some fun like horror experience like together. And I think you can play it online, you can play it locally, so it's one of those things where it's like grab a friend or a spouse or just somebody, maybe in a group, just play together in a group, and you can possibly lose characters, you can possibly save everybody, you can possibly make choices that are not very good, you know, like, and that give you kind of a bad ending. But they're super fun. They're inexpensive. I think they're only like $30 games, and some of them are on Game Pass and like PlayStation Plus Extra too. So that
I'm gonna backtrack real quick here.
Yeah,
looked it up. Shadow the Hedgehog Reloaded is a
fan-made game.
Yeah, there's no PC version of Sonic or Shadow the Hedgehog. You can't play it on PC, surprisingly.
probably
like,
got to use like a Dolphin emulator.
So Dolphin emulator on the Wii U. And it's Hedgehog Reloaded, and it's the game, but it's like redone so that there's a lot of different stuff. There's like just a bunch of quality of life changes.
Heck yeah.
And including making the challenges less challenging number wise, so less tedious.
You can always count on Sonic fans.
I'm surprised.
You can always count on them to make
that. Like,
whatever you
Sega
want.
is completely okay with that too. Like,
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, there's always like this moral gray thing with like emulators, but Sega really likes their mod community. They're like
they make. There's a lot of good fan made games out there that like Sega's totally cool with.
And then they'll hire those people and be like, "Hey, work on our games. You're passionate about Sonic fans. Like,
yeah, you do
Sonic.
amazing
So,
work.
So I don't feel guilty when I say like, "Hey, I might go look for this and see if I could try it or something."
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, if Sega's happy with it,
if they're cool with it,
I feel like they're probably like, we're never gonna do it, so why not?
Yeah.
But
cool.
It looks cool, and the name is hilarious. Reloaded.
I love the sounds, the menu sounds. It's always a gunshot sound, like it's a Devil May Cry game or something, or like, you know, it's like that's all the guns.
It's so edgy.
Yeah. Yep.
Shadow. I love Shadow.
Oh yeah.
It's the silliest thing in the world.
I love Shadow.
I mentioned to my wife the other day, I was like, I love that like Nintendo and Sega had the same problem, and they fixed it two different ways around the same time. So they wanted to give their main characters guns, and Sega was like, we'll just choose a darker character, a grittier character, we'll give him a gun. And Nintendo was like, we'll make it full of water and he'll have a jetpack.
You're not wrong.
Super
Yeah.
Sunshine.
It's funny.
Ubisoft gave the Mario crew some guns later on with Mario and Rabbids, but
Oh yeah, I mean they have guns now.
yeah,
Shadow the Hedgehog, I feel like came around the same time.
it did. Yeah, 'cause, I
Maybe
mean they were
around the
both
same
GameCube,
era.
and
Classic
Yeah,
GameCube.
both were like, we have to give our characters guns. How do we do it? Two very different.
It was definitely the Edge arc, because then I'm pretty sure it was after that, like Twilight Princess was also kind of in that Edge arc.
Yeah.
Where it's
Twilight
like,
Princess,
obviously
yes.
they weren't giving him like a gun per se, but it was like, well,
dark and
we
gritty.
have to go
There's
dark
like
and gritty. That's like the cool thing right now.
Mhm.
So
It was like
But I love Twilight Princess too.
it was an
No, it's great.
Edgelord's Ocarina of Time.
14-year-old me was like,
Yeah.
let's make everything edgy.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I'm here for it.
And then people were upset because they went in bright and colorful with Wind Waker after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which a lot of people loved, and I was
I
like,
loved
no,
it.
I want to go like take something from Final Fantasy, get Square Enix involved in Zelda.
Gosh, that still wouldn't be a bad idea. I know Square Enix has done cutscenes for Sonic.
Yeah, can you imagine a Zelda game, Final Fantasy, like cutscenes and art, and
Oh, that'd be so good.
it would be amazing. I've wanted that forever since Twilight Princess. Well, not since Twilight Princess, since Wind Waker ruined Twilight
No.
Princess. And I was like, we're going the wrong way.
Oh,
Wow.
I love Wind Waker so much.
And everyone loves it. It's most people's favorite Zelda game. I think I was bitter and calloused because it's not what I wanted.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's too much
You
water.
little edgelord. Too much water. 7 out of 10.
Right? Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I got
for
to the
me.
end of that game. I literally got to the end of Wind Waker, and they were like, "You need to go to each square of the map and fish for Triforce."
And you're like,
pieces."
no.
They fixed that in the Wii U
And I'm like,
version.
I'm good. He beats Ganon in the end. Got it, and I stopped playing.
He stabs him in the head.
It's metal.
Ooh,
It's
Very
so metal.
very Twilight Princess of it.
Yeah. Twilight Princess is in the chest, but I know what you mean. I know what you're saying.
What he should have gone for the head. Anyways,
All this
Just play whatever you
memery
play.
is amazing.
Well, I'll talk about Level Up a little bit. I played with my buddy Corvus, aka Design Frame, aka he does a lot of really cool videos on game design, so definitely check him out on YouTube.
Cool.
And anyway, we're buds, so we played Deep Rock Galactic. I hadn't played before, and he had played some. We were both pretty bad at the game. Both
I
of us
wanted
were
to
just kind
play-
of fumbling around.
I wanted to play that too because I even bought it on Steam because like I have it on PlayStation, right? But I bought it on Steam for like $10, and then I was like, I drank a Monster and I was still
Dude,
really
I was
tired.
like, you gotta take a nap. You
Yeah,
gotta
like,
go
I was like-
sleep.
I was like, how did I just drink this and I'm about to fall asleep?
Yeah, we had a good time. It was just us two.
That's awesome.
But I played Scout and he played Engineer.
That's such a good
so-
game. It's so fun.
Yeah, and it is fun. I feel like I probably wouldn't play it by myself, but it's really nice that so many of my friends have it too.
It-
So like,
it's
I can play
definitely
with him
good
again. I
with
can play with some of like
friends.
other friends. I like it. I'm really bad at shooters, but this is a fun one. And I think I really like. I prefer the co-op rather than competition, like competitive first person. I competitive first person I just like cannot do. Like I'm so bad that I'm gonna make my teammates upset. I'm gonna be mad. People are gonna be like, calling slurs at me probably. Anyway, that's just kind of how it be. So like co-op, it's like, oh, I can kind of control that. I get to play with a friend, and that's cool. And also, the dwarfs are funny. Just the things they
Rock and
say,
Stone.
yeah, are so funny. They're so unhinged. Which I guess you have to be a little bit unhinged to be like diving into an incredibly dangerous planet to mine stuff.
I like when you can dance at like when you play the jukebox at the bar.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
so
like
fun.
it's a very fun game, and like we were messing around in the spaceship. We were like breaking
Mhm.
gravity and stuff, and you can literally just drink beer and get drunk, which
There's
is so
minigames-
funny.
There's
You can
mini
kick
games in
around-
there.
You can kick around balloons, and
Mhm.
then you get yelled at because they're just like, "Those are decorations. Stop it. Are you children?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm a child." So anyway, Deep Rock Galactic, good game. Very cold take. Good game. Besides that, I also have started playing. Actually, I'm still talking about Corvus. We played with a group of friends a game called King of the Castle. And it's a pretty new game, but I think it's going to take off. I really think it's going to take off because this is it's a party game. You could play anywhere from you can have 3 or 4. I think you need 4 minimum people, all the way up to 24 or 25 people. But you can also do Twitch integration, and so you can play as a streamer with your viewers for thousands of people. There's a feature for it. So basically, whoever is hosting the game is a monarch. So, king or queen, they're the monarch of a nation, and they're ruling. And their goal is to continue to rule. They want to survive. They want to create an heir. They want to... Basically, they choose a goal that they want to instate for this nation, and as they complete their goal and produce an heir, that pretty much says hey, you're good, you're a monarch, and you win. There are 3 factions of nobles. There's the patricians of the coast. So I was part of the patricians of the coast. There's the barons of the wastes, I think, and then there's the counts of the east. And they'll kind of have their own things. So the barons are sort of warrior. They're really good at military. They have really strong military aspects. And then the patricians are really good at trade. They're really good with money. And then the counts are good with farming. And they're kind of they're straight up vampires. They're warlocks and vampires, which is really funny. The way that they're presented. And basically all 3 factions want to take the crown. But they want to do it their own way. So they're kind of together against the monarch, but they're also against each other because they want the power. They don't want the other factions to have power. So it's a long game where you basically make these decisions. You vote on certain decisions in order to influence different stats. I know this sounds really complicated and vague. It makes sense if you're tuned to a stream maybe, and you could watch it and it'll kind of make some sense. But pretty much every faction has a scheme that they're trying to enact. So I was a part of the patricians, and we thought, well, here's what we're going to do. We are going to put the king into extreme amount of debt, so much debt that he has to basically give us the crown.
Oh.
And whereas the counts to the east are we want to summon a demon that will help us get the crown. We're going to summon a demon of famine, and we're going to create this famine that will kill a bunch of people and basically kill the king too. And then I think the barons just wanted war. I think they straight up were just we're just going to take it by the military, or we're going to instate our military and infiltrate or something. Basically, you could choose a scheme, and I think it's different, not necessarily different every single game, but you could choose different schemes. And then there's 3 parts to your scheme. You basically have to meet certain criteria in order to progress your scheme. And of course, not only are you trying to progress your scheme, you're trying to make sure other factions don't progress their schemes. So again, you're kind of all against the monarch, but at the same time, you're against the other factions, and the monarch's also against the faction because he wants to live. They want to live. So, and it's just crazy because the endings of this game can vary so wildly depending on what the story kind of happens. What happens at the beginning of the games, it's hey, does the king, one thing that happened for us, for example, was we're at the patricians of the coast, and we are very loved entertainment. And so we're we want to have a race. And it was my character. My character's well, you should sponsor me, king. You should sponsor me in this race. The king's no, I'm actually going to sponsor the barons. Sorry. And we're okay, that's mean. And that sort of created this chain of events, long chain of events. And of course, a bunch of other things happened. But we ended up declaring war because there's a mechanic in which if you are defined enough as a faction, you can basically cause a rebellion. And so we rebelled, and our reasons were well, you didn't sponsor me in the race. So that's part of it. It's the game considers all the different decisions, which can create so many different outcomes, which is so cool. So it's no matter how many times you play the game, it's going to be sort of different because you're going to have different voting mechanics, different things like that, different schemes, different monarch goals, stuff like that. It's a really, really cool game. And I know I talked about it for a long time, just how it works, but I swear it's fun. It's definitely better with more people. because then you have just more people in your factions voting.
So
It
this
makes things more
is a
interesting.
video game?
It is a video game, but what's cool is it's somewhat like Jackbox in that you don't need
Okay.
everyone to own the game. You can tune in on your phone or you basically just connect to a website. And so, like, for example,
Nice.
I think the Monarch has to have the game because they're the one hosting. So if you want to play the Monarch, you have to get the game. And you can also customize your noble, which is cool. Like, that's just another feature that comes with having the game. But, like, for me, I was just able to go to a website, put in a code, and it says, like, cool, you're now part of this faction and you're with this teammate that was also in this crew. So the game itself took, like, 3 hours. So it really is, like, a sit-down, like, play for a long time. But it's intense. It's, like, social deduction. It's really cool. It's really fun. It takes a while to like sort of like get into it and understand like what's going on. But once you kind of get it, you're like, oh. So like my team actually won because we were really far along in our scheme, but we needed, there's a stat that the Monarch has for like stability in the nation. The higher the stability, I mean, the harder it is to rebel, harder it is to win a rebellion. And so we needed that to actually be high enough in order to enact our scheme. That was just like one of the things we had to do. So we're like, oh shoot, we actually need to make stability higher. But we were so defiant as a nation that we ended up rebelling. And so we got in this weird situation where there was a 50-50 chance, like it was literally like a dice roll, of this rebellion's going to succeed or it's not going to succeed. If it succeeds, we win. If it doesn't succeed, then, I mean, the game keeps going. We didn't succeed. And then the Monarchs basically crushed our rebellion, which made all of our stats go down, but it made his stats go up. It made his stability actually go high enough to meet our criteria in order to enact our scheme, and so we won, which was crazy. We're just like, we actually created a situation in which it was 100% guaranteed that we won, which was really cool. So, and what's another cool thing too is that when you play a game, it saves that essential world, like the decisions made, the votes, what happened, and you can pick it up with the same players, or maybe even different players, but you can basically pick up where you left off with like the new, like we basically found someone and be like, now you're the Monarch, and now that will be the Monarch for the next game.
That's cool.
Stats will carry over. It's crazy, and I'm pretty sure the game's only like $5 or $10. Like, it's a cheap game. It's made by just like one or at least a couple people, and I really do think it's going to take off because I think it's going to be really popular in streaming circles. Like, especially those big streamers have thousands of like people, and they're like going to be the Monarch, and all these viewers are going to be like in these different factions. So really, really cool game. Highly recommend it if you have a big group of friends, and a lot of time, because again, it is kind of like intense. There's like a lot of like, it's basically politics. It's like a politics simulator, but it's fun. And then finally, I won't talk about it a lot, but because I already talked enough. But I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima again because I've been reading so much Usagi Yojimbo that I'm like, this is the closest I'm going to feel like him. This is like the closest like I'm ever going to feel like a wandering samurai who's helping just random peasants and random people. That's like what you do in the game. So the only problem is that it's been so long since I played that I'm really bad. Like, for those who don't know, there's this dueling mechanic where basically you can have a standoff with someone and you hold the triangle button, and when they're running at you to attack, you release the triangle button, and you need to time it right. But if you do time it right, you slash right through them and just knock them out in one hit. I used to be able to just nail that like every time.
Same. And
then I played this weekend and I like failed like 5 times. And if you fail, you like almost die.
It took me so long to get that timing back. So I totally understand that.
And then I just like, I'm like, okay, well, I want to do cool samurai stuff, or like either that or I get caught sneaking. And then a bunch of guys are on me and I'm just like trying to parry, I'm trying to defend, I'm trying to do all this stuff, and they just kill me. And I'm like, oh, this game's hard when it's been so long. But I'd like to, I'll get back into it. It's such a cool, pretty game.
It is.
But again, I'm like samurai pilled right now with Usagi Yojimbo. I'm just like, nice. I like all the samurai stuff. But anyway, I've talked a lot, but those are some games I played.
Cool.
I also started a game during the Level Up event, and that was Metroid Prime. But I feel like I played most of the game outside of the events. I played probably, I don't know, more than a couple hours, and got to my first boss battle. Forgot that I save in rooms now in these old games, and so I had to go way back, and I haven't touched it since. But I will. I just need to get on it.
That's sad.
Yeah, it was like 2:00 in the morning.
Ooh.
And so it was bad timing to like lose.
Yeah.
I'd feel
in the
awful
game
after
on a
that
bad
too.
note.
Like, really? I spent all that time and
I hate going to bed,
Go to bed.
defeated like that. It's so just.
Now I'm going to bed. If I had time to like, I got to do that again, then I would do that again.
Yeah.
But I'm really loving the game for the most part. It reminds me, we've talked about Ocarina of Time a little bit in Twilight Princess. It really feels like those old puzzle games.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that's what Metroid Prime was. I read about it a little bit ago before before Level Up event started, and they kind of did this remaster and stuff. I was like, what is this? I mean, we called it a puzzle shooter. And a puzzle shooter still doesn't sound right. It's more of like just a puzzle game, and you happen to have a gun.
Yeah, it's very much an adventure game first and an FPS second.
Yeah, like puzzle adventure. And you have a gun.
Yep.
It's first person. But it doesn't necessarily need to be first person. Like, you could totally play that game in third person with the auto aiming and everything that goes on in it. I love the twin sticks because I have tried playing the game before and I didn't get very far. It wasn't mine, and so I didn't get to play much. And the not having a twin stick really threw me off.
Oh yeah.
So twin stick aiming, really nice, even though you can auto aim in the game by hitting a button. Really, really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. I'm almost offended that they haven't made more of these games since, because there's been a couple of them, right? But there hasn't been like a Metroid.
That's why people have been craving Prime 4 so badly, because they teased it like years ago and they're still hiring people to make the game. So it's like,
yeah, like that needs to happen. That it's a formula that is so good.
People were waiting for that regular release for so long. Like it's been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm really happy with it. I'm really excited about it. Really good game. If you lived in the era of the GameCube or even the N64, I feel like, and you liked those old puzzle platformers, I would, not platformers, but 3D world puzzle games where you're in dungeons trying to figure out how to get out. I would recommend this a lot.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Just remember to save.
Yeah.
Often.
Quick shout out to what is it? Goose Duck and Ultimate Chicken Horse.
Heck yeah!
Oh yeah!
Oh, those
played a little bit of Goose Duck during the event.
So fun.
Those are really good.
Yeah.
Ultimate Chicken Horse, always fun. We get to play with Jate live. Jate, super awesome guy.
Yeah.
Just whooped us entirely. He was
for a
so
long
good at that game, and we're like, well, we play this
I was
like
I've only
every
played once.
live event,
Yeah.
and you're just killing us. So cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to shout out those games.
He's
Absolutely
great. He talked a little bit about his story during the stream. Basically started an entire ministry because he wanted his friend to read the Bible a little more. It was super, super cool. So yeah, shout out to Jate Live. Go to twitch.tv/JateLive to watch him. Been a part of the community for years. So really cool to see how much he's grown over those years.
Yeah.
But that's all I've been playing. We can get into the gaming news. Go ahead, Lj.
Yeah, so I'll kind of try to make it pretty quick here with some of these. It's not like huge news. So we're gonna get into some turtle talk later.
yes.
But kind of the one out of left field is that Shredder is gonna be a skin in Call of Duty. Which I'm like, okay, I'm down for this. It's weird.
So funny.
They are having a like Japanese themed season currently. One of the smaller like maps for like Warzone and stuff is basically like Japanese themed. So Shredder kind of fits the style, but also I'm like, I've been watching the heck out of the original cartoon, and I'm like, hey, Shredder's not afraid to grab like some kind of blaster rifle in the original cartoon, so I'm just gonna, it's headcanon for me that he's cartoon Shredder. I mean, I don't know. He looks cool. I'm sure he's gonna have his own like execution animation and stuff too, like, so I'm excited to see what that is. But yes, it is not helping my my Ninja Turtles like kind of kick that I've been going on through right now.
I know what you mean.
With
like,
everything, like Turtles are like in right now.
They're in, yeah. And like reading through the Usagi comics, there's even more crossovers with the Turtles, which is like so fun.
Yep. Yeah, so it's just it's feeding all of that right now, so I'm here for it. I think that comes out like this week or next week, so I'll report back. The other thing that I am super excited about, and I'm sure other people are excited about, especially like when you talk about like, you know, we were talking about like the GameCube era and stuff like that. Like there was definitely a PS2 era where anime fighters were a big thing, especially the Dragon Ball Z games and the Naruto games. The series Budokai Tenkaichi for Dragon Ball Z is actually coming back. They're doing a new game.
Whoa.
Which I assume is going to be super based on Dragon Ball Super. Mm-hmm. Because now you actually have new material. You don't have to make... yeah. So you don't have to make another game just based on the Cell and Buu Saga and all that crap again. You have so much new material that... Like, you even have manga material that we haven't actually seen animated yet. But yeah, if this is anything like the older PS2 releases, then that'll be awesome. Those games were so fun. Like, Tenkaichi 2 was, like, stacked with characters from, like, every era through, like, OG Dragon Ball to, like, GT. So it's, like, I'm hoping it's as stacked as that was, but I kind of doubt it's going to be. But I think even those Tenkaichi games came to, like, Wii or something, because that's where I played one of them. And I used the controller because I'm like, there's no way I'm using this Wii nunchuck to like fight and do Kamehamehas and stuff. I was like, this is just too complicated. So yeah, I think people who were really in that era are gonna want to check this out, and they're super excited about it. The tease was actually made during Dragon Ball FighterZ like World Finals, so yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Cool.
Yeah. And then the last piece of news, which everybody's been kind of railing on this game already, just because that's what people do these days. But Suicide Squad, according to Bloomberg, is probably going to be delayed again. There hasn't actually been an official delay, but they say it was due to poor reception during the State of Play, which I'm like, sure, if you want to get out of the way of Tears of the Kingdom, not that the same people are going to be playing both of these, I think. But it's like, yeah, May is a stacked month. There's so many other big games. If you want to just push it out of the way until like August or something, like that's cool. I think the delay is supposed to be late 2023. I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm gonna check this game out probably regardless because it just looks like dumb fun. But yeah, wait, no official delay on this yet. But I think it looks fun at the very least. I don't think this is gonna be an amazing game by all means, but. I'm just like, yeah, I'm all for delays if they can make a game better. If you're just delaying a game just to kind of dig yourself out of a hole, then that kind of sucks. Like Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones has been delayed a ton of times. I don't even know if that game's coming out these days. But I hope this is a good delay, and I hope that something good comes from it. So that's kind of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll get into movies then. I have not seen any movies recently. I'm going to go see Ant-Man again.
Nice.
Just because my wife hasn't seen it yet, and she wants to. But what movies have you guys been watching? Go ahead, LJ. We'll start with you again.
Okay. I watched enough movies for all of us, I think, in like one day.
Yeah, no kidding. Go for it.
So the first one I watched a few weeks ago, I would have talked about this last week if we recorded. I think. Well... No, I think I did watch it earlier this week. I don't remember when I watched it. I did watch Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
How'd you like it?
It's so good. It was like way better than it had any right to be. I was like, wow. Like, I'm just like, I get it. Like, it's got such positive reviews all around, but I'm like, I still feel like this is a movie that people were just like, oh, that's a kid's movie. That's fine. I don't need to see that. But it's just got so much heart. And not only that, but the animation is really good too. Like somebody just woke up one day and decided, hey, you know what, guys? We're going to go hard on a Puss in Boots movie. And it's just like, yeah, it's good. I like it. I just straight up bought the movie, and I'm like, I have no regrets. Because I'm like, yeah, people said this was good, and I agree. Yeah. And then the other movies I watched all in one day because I realized yesterday, I'm like, I guess I'm not doing anything today. So I decided I was going to go watch... I was planning on going to the movies all weekend. Like, I wasn't sure what I was going to see yet. There's still Scream 6 came out this week. Cocaine Bear is still a thing.
Cocaine Bear.
Creed Creed 3, which is what I ended up seeing. And then I think something else. Oh, 65 came out this week. That Adam Driver movie with the dinosaurs. So I was like, what do I go see this weekend? And then so I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm gonna watch Creed 3. That's the most up my alley thing. I think out of this list. So I watched Creed 1 and 2, which those were really fun to watch. It's really cool to see the progression of... It feels like Sylvester Stallone was definitely letting off the wheel over the course of this trilogy. Because the first movie, even though it was directed by Ryan Coogler, it still had so much Rocky influence. That movie was powered by Rocky and Sylvester Stallone and just the music and everything, and it was definitely this is a Rocky sequel. This is a continuation. Creed 2, I feel still had some of that, but it felt like we were making a transition into Creed being its own thing, its own series. And then the third one, definitely, since Sylvester Stallone isn't even a part of it, that one felt like its own thing. It did have a few small nods, obviously, but I really like that I watched all three of them together because I feel like I was able to experience that. Michael B. Jordan directed the third one. Jonathan Majors is... That dude's... He freaks me out in Creed as well.
He's just good.
He's such a dangerous dude in that movie. He's unhinged. And I want to see Kang that unhinged in future movies. Kang was just creepy because it's ooh, it's him. Be afraid of him. And so I'm okay. Yeah. And then so I want to see Kang be that unhinged in future movies. To be I think... I'm
sure he will be.
Yeah, so his name in that is Damian Anderson. They call him Dame. I'm I want Kang just to be like Damian. I just want him to be crazy like that. But it's good. Michael B. Jordan did a fantastic job, I think, directing. Obviously, there's been stuff there are some scenes that were definitely inspired by anime, which is just some shots, especially during the main fight, where it's okay, yeah, that was out of Dragon Ball Z or that was out of Naruto, which they've been marketing that, especially IGN and stuff like that has been talking about that. So it's not really and he's even been open about it, that there's influenced by anime. And in my head, I'm thinking, after watching these movies and thinking about Rocky movies, I'm you know what? Rocky's also been low-key an anime for grown men. Just
yes. Thank you.
It really has been.
It really is.
Because the story, it's almost like watching Cobra Kai or something, where it's sure, the logic behind this, there's certain fights and certain things that wouldn't happen so easily, but it's just oh, this thing happened. It makes me.
You just kind of have to accept it.
Yes, in real life, the WBC wouldn't be hey, let's give this random person out of nowhere a title shot or something.
Yeah.
So it's just, but I'm this is straight up anime, and there's other characters in this world that just want to that end up becoming friends with the main character just because their attitude and the way they live is just so infectious that they want to be around this main character. And I'm that's straight up Goku. Rocky is an American Goku, it's just one of those things. I'm and even watching the Creed movies, I'm yeah, this is just anime. This is just live action anime, which I also heard that apparently somebody's trying to do a Creed anime thing. I don't know how real that is. I've only seen one article about it, but
Michael B. Jordan would
could
love
be
that.
Cool.
He
would.
And,
that
and if they actually did animate something, because there are boxing themed anime, they're out there. If they tried to do that, I would be down with it. I would watch it. So if that's a real thing, sign me up. But yeah, it's fun. Yeah, those movies got a lot of heart, and it's just yeah. And there's genuine good stories in there. It's not just oh, go watch some dudes get punched. Obviously that's half the reason you want to see it, but really, really good stuff in there. So that's all I got. That's my TED talk on Rocky and Creed.
Let's go.
I really want to see Creed 3, but I'll ask this: do I need to watch the other two to understand Creed 3, or could I watch it by itself?
I feel to really get an appreciation for it, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I would think so. Just because it's very much
watch all of it.
So it's very much a saga. Like, you don't necessarily have to go back and watch all the Rocky movies. But it's kind of cool because the Creed movies are built on, like, Rocky already being, and Apollo Creed, them being so well known already. That, like, you just kind of have to know, like, oh, that dude's a legend, in this world. But I think to get the whole, like, it definitely feels like a saga, which is also, like, kind of anime. It's like the third one, you're definitely seeing it later in his life and stuff like that. And there's things that took place in past movies that, like, you won't understand the context of other things, like, if you hadn't watched the others. Yeah. It's worth it.
Wait, what have you been watching, Shelley?
So really out of the blue, I was just in the mood to watch a musical this last week, and
Nice.
I started getting Phantom of the Opera stuck in my head, which honestly, like, Phantom of the Opera, I've only ever seen the movie once. I've never actually seen, like, a live production of it, and I've heard, but I know the music pretty well, relatively well. Like, I know the tunes, I don't know lyrics always, but, like, the melodies. So, for some reason, I was like, I just kind of want to watch Phantom of the Opera. Like, I just kind of want to watch, and my husband, he was feeling sick, and he actually watched a couple movies sort of without me. It's like during the Level Up event, for example, he was just kind of like chilling, and he was saying how, like, he just kind of likes to watch cheesy like romance stuff when he's sick. I don't know why, so that's why I was like, we should watch Phantom of the Opera, and so we did, and it was great. And by great, I mean I realized that the story isn't amazing and the characters all suck. Like, the most interesting character is the Phantom, obviously, but, like, he sucks because he's evil, right? Like, he's not a good guy. The rest of the characters that are supposed to be good suck because they're dumb or they're hypocrites. Like, Christine is pretty stupid, and then Raoul is basically just like, no, Christine, you shouldn't be obsessed with the Phantom and, like, go and make him your entire personality. You shouldn't make me your entire personality. But the music is really great, and it's really iconic, and it's just, I don't know, it's infectious, and it gets stuck in my head. And I think as far as, like, music and musicals go, it's like, obviously there's a lot of musicals that have really good music, but it's so strange how it's like I care so little about so much of Phantom of the Opera. The fact that I get it really stuck in my head and, like, really, really like the songs this much, like, that says something, I think, just about the quality of it. And I still would really love to see, like, a live production of it. I mean, that's always how musicals should be sort of viewed, is in that medium. That's how it's meant to be. I just have to kind of watch movies because I don't have time to go out. / sometimes they're just not showing in the area. In fact, that's usually it. They're just not showing in the area. But I still had a good time, and it was kind of fun to just kind of, like, roast everybody and kind of call out the just kind of ridiculousness. It's, like, kind of unhinged, and, but, the Phantom is obviously a very cool, interesting character, so that's fun. It's just, like, Christine, they, like, try to make her this, like, underdog character, then, like, the first, like, 15, 20 minutes of the movie, she's no longer an underdog. Everybody loves her, and they still kind of, like, try to, like, portray her that way. I'm like, listen, the true underdog is I don't remember the name of the friend. I want to say it's, like, Sam or something. The friend who's, like, actually just a regular character, and she deserves better. I think she deserves better. She was barely a character. But anyway, I just really like Phantom of the Opera. I really like musicals, okay? So I'm kind of now like, oh, am I on a musical kick? Like, I really need to watch Les Mis again. It's been, like, a couple of years since I've watched Les Mis, and that's, like, my favorite musical. So I'm like, I should probably rewatch that eventually, but I don't know. It's still good. I still liked it. Still, I guess, holds up. I don't know. Like, there's not, like, any, like, weird effects in it or anything, but it's still just kind of fun. Yeah, Gerard Butler. Gerard Butler being the Phantom.
Yeah, it's that newer release, right?
Well, yes, because there was, like, the really old movie that was based off the book, and then this is the movie based off the musical, because the musical came out in the 80s, so... And it's just, like, yeah, it's so iconic. Like, even if you've never seen it, like, the music, and I think that's, like... You kind of have to respect that. Even if you don't enjoy Phantom of the Opera, you kind of have to respect how iconic it is. And I do respect it, even if I don't love, like, all the story and characters.
I think it's this year that it's the last year it's going to be played on Broadway or something like that. This year or next
Don't
year.
tell me that.
They're retiring.
Right when I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, like, of course they are, because it has been around for a freaking long time. Like, I remember when, like, I was in elementary school, one of my best friends was obsessed with Phantom of the Opera, and I never understood why. Like, I didn't understand it, but now I'm like, you know what? If I had listened to Phantom of the Opera and watched it when I was a kid, I probably would have been obsessed with it too. It just ended up being Les Mis for me instead. So, anyway, that's what I watched. We'll talk about Cowboy Bebop later. I didn't end up watching the movie. We were going to, but maybe next week I'll be able to talk about the movie.
Cool.
I do have it on my list.
Sweet.
We will get into the movie news then.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen anything. Go ahead,
That's
Shelley.
fine. So we have actually a couple trailers to talk about. So the first trailer we're going to talk about is... Actually, we've been talking about TMNT already. Let's just start with TMNT. Let's just start with that one. There's 2 trailers to talk about. Let's just start with that one. So this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is what it's called. And this is Seth Rogen's, right? Like, is it Seth Rogen? But, like, he's basically, like, producing the movie, which is crazy for me to think about.
He's, like, totally making it, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't realize he was a Turtles fan. I had no clue, but... This movie looks really good. And it's crazy the influence Into the Spider-Verse had. How now when you watch anything animated, especially 3D animated, not necessarily claymation. So yeah, same thing happened with Puss in Boots. You see this Spider-Verse effect. Like, it's the influence of that movie is so powerful that it has directly influenced the animations industry, which I think is really cool. It's like forced people to be like, wait. We can actually really unlock potential here. And make it really artistic and really fun. And especially for something like TMNT, it's perfect because it's originally comic books, you know?
Yeah.
And and so it's like the perfect medium for that. And I think it's cool that they're kind of making them once again, reminding us like, yeah, these are teenagers. They just kind of mess around. They don't really know what they're doing, which is very much the sort of similar take like in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is on Netflix. It's the newer Nickelodeon version of them. It's a similar thing where they're just teenagers and they're just kind of, they don't really know what they're doing. They're messing around and they're just kind of trying to be heroes. They're trying the hero
thing. They seem like 13, not 18.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's cool. It just looks really good. It looks really fun so far. What do you guys think?
I agree. The style.
No, I'm really excited about it.
It's just, I'm gonna go with a pun here, but it's oozing. It's very oozing with style. I think is.
Yeah.
Like
I think you're right.
To me, there's no better way to describe it. And just the East Coast influence, like the music and just so much of it, just reminds me. I think of like an East Coast hip hop album when I watch that trailer.
Yeah.
Like, it's just.
Yeah.
Which totally makes sense because they're like from New York, so.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about it and being like, "This isn't going to be good."
Me too.
Seth Rogen, Ninja Turtles, animated. I was like, "Oh,
everybody was expecting it to be. Everybody was expecting it to be darker, because I think it's because they wanted the dark and gritty comic Turtles.
Oh, which
or they thought, oh, it's
Invincibles too, right? Isn't that Seth Rogen?
Yeah, so they're like, oh, it's Seth Rogen, so it's probably going to be adult humor or crude humor. But then I'm like, it got teased during the Kids' Choice Awards, but then so it brought me to think like, oh, we all forgot Nickelodeon owned the Turtles right now, or at least the TV, like the distribution for movies and television. So I was talking to Jonathan the other day. He's like, yeah, I hope it's not like this. And then I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, Nickelodeon has that stuff, so I don't think it's going to be as bad as we're led to believe it might be. And we totally got something that seems so wholesome, and I'm happy with it.
Wholesome. Yeah, like it does have very similar energy that I could tell to Rise of the TMNT, which also is a really cool show with super stylized. It's 2D animation, so it's different in that way.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's not literally exactly the same, but it's like it looks like they're taking a very similar approach with, probably the Nickelodeon influence. But I love it. I think it's awesome. And again, just like. I don't know. Donnie's glasses are just so cute. I'm just like, oh, he's just a little baby.
it's one of those things right now too, where it's like I keep talking to different people about Ninja Turtles lately because I see my posts, like, because I've been watching it too, and then it's just some people are like, oh, I like the movies, and then some people are like, oh, I like this show, and so I'm sitting here watching the original, and then I'm like, dang, am I really about to go through every piece of Ninja Turtles media this year? Like, please. So I'm just like, like,
do it.
I love that it's such a universal, like. Somebody the other day told me, they're like, oh yeah, I like those movies, the recent live-action movies that just came out. And I'm like, see, that's interesting to me because other people view those as, like, straight-up trash. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like,
yeah,
okay then. Like, let me just take it all in and see, you know? Like, because I even want to watch The Rise of the Ninja Turtles because people had reservations about that, too.
Rise of TMNT looks quite good.
But that looks like it's good, too. So I'm just like, oh, like, I'm just gonna ride this roller coaster until I burn myself out.
No, you should. It's like, and it's so funny because, I already talked a lot this last year about watching the 2003 show.
The 03 one.
Yeah, and, like, just having a really good time with that. And that was, I guess it did influence me to start Usagi Yojimbo, but I just think it's so funny how it's like, I'm pretty much obsessed with those comics now, and I'm just, like, still reading through them. Awesome. Especially, I finally read through Grass Cutter, which is, I think, one of the most, or I think it's just one of the best of the Usagi Yojimbo comics is Grass Cutter, and, like, honestly, it is really good. It's great.
I own The Last Ronin too, and I totally need to.
And that's on my list too. After I finish Usagi, I'm gonna read through The Last Ronin. But it's just so funny because my husband's the one who, like, introduced me to TMNT, and he's the one who grew up with TMNT. Like, and I'm all in, and he's like, "You've consumed more TMNT than I have." And that's crazy to say. And I'm just like,
that's so cool.
Yeah. And the only thing that makes me sad is
so versatile.
The lack of Casey Jones. I need Casey Jones in all of this stuff. Like, I don't think he might be in Rise of TMNT. I don't think he's going to be in this new movie. I'd be very surprised. I don't think he is going to be.
To circle back to it, neither is Shredder.
Which is, like, crazy, but
as far as we know, like,
it seems, it kind of feels like it's a kind of like a superhero origin story because they are so young and it seems like they're just kind of figuring things out. So I think it could even open the door to, if this does well, which hopefully it does, maybe a sequel. Then Shredder shows up.
It's weird too, because
it's very much like, how many mutants do we have in this lore? We're gonna throw them all.
There's a lot, because even I'm watching the original cartoon, and there's so many in there, and Shredder really feels like second note sometimes, actually, which kind of surprises me. Like, so I'm just like, Shredder isn't the only threat in the Turtles. We just happen to we've been fed that way for so long.
Yeah, we've been trained in that way, but there's a lot of other guys, and they're all crazy. There's the Foot Clan. There's the
from the 90s.
Which one?
TMNT 3, which I know is not everyone's favorite, but when they travel back in time to feudal Japan.
Oh, the third movie. Cool. Yes. I like that too. I mean, I do as well.
Yes. But overall, I'm pretty excited for this movie. I'm like, I don't really get excited for trailers nowadays. It's pretty rare, but I saw this trailer and I thought, this is right up my alley. Like, I'm going to theaters for this. And I told my husband, I'm like, we got to see this in theaters. He's like, yeah.
Day one.
Pretty much. I'm just like, I don't get excited about Marvel anymore. I get excited about TMNT, brother. Cowabunga.
I love the resurgence that's happening with it right now. I just, like, there are people that have never... Yeah, like, there's people that have never forgotten about TMNT. But now I just feel like this is the year. Like, yeah.
I think you're totally right. And I'm here for it. I'm just like, and it's crazy because, like, again, I'm like a new fan. Like, I only started watching the 2003 show last year. It's not like I didn't know what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were. I just, like, didn't consume any of their products. I didn't watch any of their shows, didn't play games.
My brother had
like that.
all the action figures, and then I received those. Like, I remember opening an old duffel bag of my brother's, like, when I was, like, 5-6 years old back in the day. And just being like, yep, this is it right here.
Nice. Yeah, that's so wholesome. But anyway. And, like, part of me is also wondering, like, 2023, are they going to do some sort of, like, cool 20th anniversary homage with, like, the 2003 show? But then I thought, well, there's definitely not going to be, like, a Teen Titans 20-year anniversary homage thing happening, so I probably shouldn't expect it for TMNT, or maybe it's more likely with them, but it kind of made me think of, like, oh, it's also the 20th anniversary of Teen Titans.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm old. No. Why am I feeling old and I'm the youngest here? It's crazy. It's really weird.
That's funny.
Okay, but let's talk about another trailer that doesn't look bad by any means. I'm just not quite as excited about. And it's The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
How we feeling?
I don't know. I'm just kind of
neutral.
I'm so indifferent about it.
I feel similar.
That's where I'm at.
So don't
I think
care.
you're all in the same.
But I didn't like love the animated movie. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
It's just not something that I.
I think. Yeah, I think. I also just like don't love the animated movie. I think I like the music, and I like the animation, and I like the colors, and so I think I'm actually happier with this trailer because finally there's some colors you see. Like it's just been so like dark and dreary like the whole time, and finally now they're like, oh yeah, there's colors and there's like colorful fish and there's like glowy things under the ocean. I'm like, okay, finally. Like I kind of wish we had seen that earlier, but I'm glad we're seeing it now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also like, I don't know if I care. And also like I'm such a hater, but like Aquafina Scuttle, I hear her voice and I'm like, I don't want to watch this. That's such a mean thing to say. But like, I think Ryan the Last Dragon just really burnt me out on her so much. And she's great in Shang-Chi because she's an actual character.
I had to see her in other things to actually appreciate her as an actress because it just seems like she got thrown as the comic relief for a while.
Yeah.
And that's still kind of what she is. But
Yeah.
like, I like watching other stuff she's been in.
Exactly, yeah. I kind of think that too. It's like, you know, she's in Crazy Rich Asians, she's in, of course, Shang-Chi, and she's in other movies that I haven't even seen. It's just like, every time I see her, it's more like I hear her, and it's usually some weird animated comic relief character, and I'm kind of tired of it. I'd rather she be a real character that, you know, can be funny. She can be funny. That's like her whole thing. She's funny, but I'd rather she actually be a real character. And be allowed to be a real character with real emotions that literally isn't just doing slapstick all the time. I feel like even in Raya the Last Dragon, she wasn't a real character, which is crazy because she's in the title.
Yeah, she was supposed to be the main point of that movie.
She still didn't even feel like a real character. So technically she was, but man, that movie was so disappointing. I don't want to think about it anymore. But I don't know. I guess maybe someday I'll watch The Little Mermaid. I think I'm less, like, upset about this than I was with, like, Beauty and the Beast or, obviously, Lion King or Mulan. I just feel like, I'm like, okay, Little Mermaid is old enough and iconic enough that I'm like, okay, fine. I feel like of all the movies that they made live-action remakes of, I feel like this one actually could use kind of the live-action or kind of a revamp or kind of something. I feel like it is more justified than almost any of those other movies, especially like Beauty and the Beast.
Lion King drove the nail in the coffin for me. Like I was just like, nope,
yeah, that was
done.
That was ridiculous. I can't believe they did that. Still, I'm still like, what? They actually did that anyway. But I feel like this could again, like Little Mermaid was so, and it's not like again, it wasn't even like the perfect movie. Whereas again, like Beauty and the Beast, I keep comparing to that because Beauty and the Beast is arguably the best Disney movie, like animated at least. A lot of people say it's like seriously up there. While it's not my personal favorite, like I totally understand why. But it kind of gets to the point where you're like, well, it's so good on its own that it does not need to be revisited. Doesn't need live action. Whereas Little Mermaid, I'm like, you know what? It's kind of old and it's kind of dusty and it wasn't their best. It was really good at the time for certain reasons, but now they can kind of like do something new and fun with it. So I don't know if they will. I don't know if I'll watch it, but I'm excited for those who are excited. I am happy for those who are happy about it. Also, I think Megan McCarthy is Ursula, which, again, I feel like a hater. I don't usually like watching her in things, but I feel like that's actually a perfect role for her. I feel like she could actually be a really good Ursula. But yeah. I don't know. It's just for me, if I'm watching Little Mermaid, I'd rather just watch the theater production, which I have seen, and it's very good. And it's just like, I don't know, for me, it's same with Lion King. I'm like, if I want to watch a live production of this, I'm not going to watch a movie. I'm going to watch it on Broadway. I'm going to watch it in a theater. I'm going to watch the musical. It's like, especially guys, okay, if you haven't seen Lion King 1, so good.
I bet that is
amazing.
good. I've always wanted to see it.
like Little Mermaid's amazing. It's also really, really good. But like The Lion King is like so iconic. Like as a musical, as a theater production, it's like separates itself from the original movie entirely in that way. Like it in the world of musical theater, it is like its own iconic like thing that's totally separated from like the movie, which is like really cool actually. But I just have very fond memories of it. I saw it when I was a child. It was like one of the first like musicals I saw. And it was just like the masks and the costume design. And like, I probably should stop talking about musicals.
I had no idea there was one, but they turn everything into a musical these days. So.
No, but it's so good because here's the thing, LJ, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Where the Lion King live action, quote unquote, failed is because they're like, well, we need to make like a realistic depiction of lions for some reason. Whereas the musical is like, well, listen, we're not 2D animation because we're a musical and we need to be live people. So we're going to make really, really cool masks, really cool costumes that are just
the costume work seemed awesome.
Completely inspired. And like, just like these beautiful, like giant puppets of like giraffes and other animals to just like, they're gorgeous. And it only works in musical theater. It only works in a production like that. And they saw the medium that they had to work with, and they go with what the medium works best with. Like they're like, what works in this medium? We're going to go with this. And again, that's what's so cool about stuff like we're talking about TMNT, where it's like, what works best in this medium of 3D animation, doing these really cool stylized things. Same thing with like 2D animation. We're seeing it in claymation as well. I know like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is really good. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard like that's amazing claymation. They like kind of take what's best in claymation.
Speaking of, that won an Oscar.
Yeah, which should have.
Oscars were last night.
So, but basically all I'm saying is it's annoying that live action is trying to like, I don't know. It's like, it's live action. There's a ton you could do, but you have to be considerate of like the mediums, the different mediums. And a lot of times, if I'm being completely honest, I personally just am more interested in other mediums, I think, than just live action. Yeah. But there's obviously a place and time for everything, but that's my weird little rant. I don't really know why. I gotcha. I just kind of like felt like it. I don't know.
That's good.
Time for another one.
Yeah, we're just talking about TMNT and musicals today. But you know what we're also going to talk about? You know what we're also going to talk about? It's not good. It's bad, actually.
That's what I said. Time for another rant. Let's go.
So, we're shifting focus to Warner Bros. And they're basically looking at like Hogwarts Legacy being like, oh my gosh, Hogwarts Legacy made so much money. We really need, there's still milk in this cow, guys, in this cash cow Harry Potter. They're still milking it. We got to keep milking it. And it's like, honey, stop. Like, it's a video game. People have been looking forward for that style of game for literally years. Like, ever since everyone started.
They got the wrong message from that video game.
Again, different medium.
Success.
We're talking about different mediums. That's a different medium. It works really well for that. And people wanted that interactive sort of like, I get to be in Hogwarts. I get to create my character and like learn spells. Like, people have been wanting that for literally so long. And so now they finally have it, which is really cool. But now they're like, well, we can still do stuff. Like, we can make more movies. And I'm like, did you guys just completely forget the failure that was Fantastic
Make more video
Beasts?
games instead of movies.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. But unfortunately, Warner Bros. Is like, no, we can make more movies. And I'm like, again, like, you literally just failed so hard with Fantastic Beasts. That happened like just this last year. Are you already forgetting about that? And you're already saying, oh, guys, yeah, I promise there's money to be made here. Like, there's no heart. You know, there was heart in Hogwarts Legacy. At least from I haven't played it, but as far as I could tell, it sounds like there's a lot of heart in it. Whereas Fantastic Beasts, like, there's no heart. And them trying to make more movies, like, there's going to be no heart in that either, I don't think. And they talk about maybe making a movie adaptation of The Cursed Child, which, y'all,
That's a bad idea.
If you haven't read The Cursed Child, be thankful that you haven't read it. It's not good. Most Harry Potter fans completely disregard it as being canon. They say, nope, this ain't canon. Nope.
Shoot it out of a cannon.
Basically. So, that would be, I mean, and who knows, maybe it'd be easier to consume as a movie rather than, reading it, because it is supposed to be a play. And I've heard the play, like, in itself is like just, you know, a fine production, but it's more so the characters and the story, which like that doesn't change from that itself doesn't change from medium to medium, right? That sticks. So I would really hate that. And it's just, again, I'm like, Hogwarts Legacy was like a cool exception, especially because it was a video game. You can interact with it. It's kind of follows these different rules, but like, we don't need more Harry Potter movies. Please let it die. Everyone wants to die too. Everybody wants to let it die. It's just Warner Bros. Warner Bros. Is the only one who's like, no, let's keep going.
What if they make a musical?
No, do not.
That was a good one.
Warner Bros. Would not make this musical. Okay? Someone else will.
No.
Someone else would. Someone else has. Like Harry Potter Puppet Palace, that's essentially a musical. There's a Harry Potter the musical. You can find that on YouTube. It's pretty good if I remember correctly. I don't quite remember everything that happens, but I'm pretty sure that exists. It's the same people, I think, who made Batman the musical, which is very good, by the way. So just watch that instead. So, checkmate. Already done. Boom.
All right, we can move on. We'll get into the TV shows we've been watching. I don't know where to start. I guess Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about Mando. I didn't listen.
Don't want to give too much away,
Pedro
but Mandalorian got very interesting, very fast.
I've only watched the first
good.
episode. I'm not caught up.
Yeah, the first episode was all right.
I didn't
like
the first episode, but anyway.
It feels like a slow build, and I'm okay with that. Like,
yeah, the pacing of this last episode was really, it was bad pacing, but we needed it because I don't know if I would have held on.
The end of the
if they would have
episode
paced it any
feels
slower.
abrupt.
Like it's very fast paced, but I don't want to know the stuff that happened in between, so I don't know why I'm complaining about it. It was just like point A, point B, point C, point D, really quickly.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't have cared if they would have added more details to it, so it's kind of like a good thing they did that. But yeah, I think that first episode is kind of like a reminder of what the show was, and now it's good again.
Yep, picking it up into the action again.
Yeah, I've been watching that. I've been watching Bad Batch, but I'm behind on that a little bit, though that's getting really interesting. The episodes that I'm in, for those who've been keeping up, are very political.
Ooh.
And it's strange for an animated show, like kids show, to get really political, but it's been fun to watch that. There is, I'm pretty sure it's in the trailer, so forgive me if this is spoiling something. I'm almost positive it's in the trailer. But Sidious, is it Sidious, right? Is the Emperor?
Palpatine? Oh yeah, Darth Sidious.
Palpatine.
Darth Sidious, yeah.
Yeah, Palpatine rises from the floor.
Somehow Palpatine returned?
Yeah. Who would have thought? I mean, this is before, anything was...
Yeah.
He hadn't gone anywhere at this point. He had just taken over.
This is before somehow, yeah.
But, man, it was really intense when he showed up. Got chills. And then for me, obviously, me and LJ both, we've been watching Last of Us, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But loved the ending. Didn't think the ending was controversial. A lot of people said that the ending was going to be... they were going to take like a lot of left turns with it. And I don't feel like that really happened.
I don't think so either.
That's how I remember the game going.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not to give too much away. But yeah, I don't know. Really, really good. Really faithful, I thought, to the game.
I agree.
And yeah, just as emotional as the game. So good stuff.
Yeah.
There's I almost want to let my dad watch it. My dad is in his I think he's in his late 60s now. Sorry, Dad. He doesn't listen. And I want him to watch it. And he could have never, ever played the video game.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what's been exciting is my stepdad and I we've been he's been watching the episodes at different times, but last night we both watched the finale at the same time, and it was really cool to provide context. Again, I've said that every week, but yeah, it's been really cool to provide context, especially watching it with him. I was like, dang, I wish we would have watched more of these together because this was really cool. But it was cool just to I feel like it's definitely hit that perfect spot, which I know Joe talked about in the past, where it's our family and friends can enjoy this thing still, even though they haven't played the game. You know, like,
Yeah.
and we can enjoy it too, because I would go and tell my stepdad, be like, hey, I actually didn't see that in the game, so this is cool for me too, because I'm seeing things that like I didn't know about, or stuff you only read about in like a page or a journal, or something this character says, they, you know, or whatever, you know, when they put it in the show for context, I'm just like, oh, that's cool. Like that's stuff even I didn't know I wanted.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about it. There's from not the last episode, the episode before that, a detail that we just wanted to discuss.
Yeah.
But we'll do that later.
Yep.
Shelley, have you been watching anything else on TV?
Yeah, so, well, I did, watch that first episode of Mandalorian. I haven't watched more. I feel like that first episode was literally just, look, guys, it's Star Wars. Look, guys, we're back, and it's Star Wars. Which I'm like, okay, that's fine, but I need, like, things to happen. It felt way too fan servicey. But that's okay, because it's the first episode. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It's just the first episode, it's fine. My mother thanked me for warning her that she's not going to get any context but for seasons between 2 and 3 unless she watches the last 3 episodes of Book of Boba Fett. So she thanked me for that. And I'm like, that's still messed up, but gotta do what you gotta do.
I loved it was in the recap, and I was like, that's not a recap of the show.
Yeah.
Which is
it was like you're recapping from a different show.
So weird. Thanks, Disney.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm still bitter about Boba Fett, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all are. That's fair.
Yeah.
But finished Cowboy Bebop. That show is really good.
So good.
I was like emotional. It's like I don't like, and maybe this is another reason why I not literally refuse, but like I'm not watching Last of Us. I really don't love to watch things that make me cry. Like if it's something throws me off and I like end up crying, you know, that's what happens. But I tend to not really try to go out of my way to watch like media, like movies or shows that I know is going to make me really, really emotional, get really attached to characters, that sort of thing. Or like getting attached to characters only for them to like die or something to happen. I don't know. But
it's the personal stuff that hits me. Like it's like, oh, if it's talking about grief or death, yep, I'm probably gonna cry. Or it's like, this person's gone through like chemo or cancer.
Oh, absolutely.
Because my family's had to deal with that in different aspects. So I'm like, yep,
exactly.
This is the stuff that's gonna make me cry.
Yeah, exactly. It's like kind of knowing your triggers a little bit, but it's like
yes.
I think for me, like I tend to, because I just don't like feeling that way. I want everyone to have like a happy ending. I want everyone to like, I want the good times to last, but it's true that the good times never last, and I know that. And so hopefully that wasn't like spoiler for Cowboy Bebop. Hopefully I kept that vague enough, but either way, Cowboy Bebop ended up sad.
It's a really old show, so I think
that's true. It is a gold. Like, it's really we're the ones who are super like late to the party, but like man, it is such a good show. It is such a good show, and it was also funny because it's like I've been listening to the soundtrack for a while, so I still would get like times where I'm like, oh, I know this song. Oh, this is the context to use it in. Now I see the song a little bit differently. So that's kind of funny.
That's pretty cool.
And I know, again, the movie, we were going to watch it. We just kind of ran out of time. So probably this week. Probably I'll talk about the movie next week because I know most people say like, hey, watch the show, then watch the movie.
I forgot I have the movie on DVD still. I saw that the other day. Yeah,
cool. So I'm looking forward to the movie, but it's just like, Cowboy Bebop. It's just, so many feelings. And
it's good.
It's not like I doubted the hype for the show. I never doubted it, but it was always like intimidating for me to kind of figure out like why there's so much hype, and now I know why there's so much hype. And I'm
now you know.
This show's freaking good. Like, oh, but my heart ached for like 3 days after it ended.
And
I was
it's a
like,
shorter
this
anime too. Like I love shorter anime is my favorite kind of anime.
Yeah, exactly. Like it really was the perfect length, I think. Like I think it worked out really well. So, and I'm excited to watch the movie, but like Cowboy Bebop, consider me a fan. So cool, all the characters, all the party, right? Like they just all work so well together, and the dynamics. I could go on, and people have gone on about Cowboy Bebop, but consider it done. I finished it finally, so finally I can check that off the anime classics list. Finally did that, so yeah.
I've been told I need to watch My Hero Academia, and I think not wanting to watch My Hero Academia is keeping me from watching any anime. Because I'm
Really?
like, I'm at some point.
Yeah, that makes
See,
sense.
Drive.
I'm at a point where like I like My Hero Academia, but it's because I enjoy it and I don't take it too seriously. But then there's just like hearing the opinions of people, and
I've heard it's gotten really good.
I don't know. I've heard it was really
yeah.
good. I don't know.
I don't know, because there's
Really?
people that are like, oh,
Interesting.
it's gotten really good, and then there's people that are like, oh, it's really bad. So it's like,
I've got a couple friends that are like, you have to watch it. I've never watched
there's
it.
two
before. I watched
camps,
the first episode and was like, meh.
I think maybe because it's like one of the most popular anime right now, so there's two camps. There's the people that are like, oh, this is really good. Then there's the people that are like, oh, it's actually gotten really bad, or it's really bad. And it's like, no, I just think you're hating on it because it's the cool thing, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm sure it's really good because like I'm behind on it, but like I enjoy it for what it is. I'm like, I don't take this seriously. This is just a bunch of superheroes with weird powers. Like, that's all I want. I don't need, I don't need it to be good necessarily. I just need it to be fun. So yeah.
Sweet.
At some point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
LJ, what else have you been watching?
I don't really need to harp on it much anymore, but I've been watching TMNT. I have the original 80s cartoon. I have the DVD, the like box set. And so I literally watched it. I ordered pizza the other night just because my family was like, oh, we didn't really have any plans for dinner, and I had gotten home from work. And I'm just like, oh, this is the most geekiest and nerdiest thing I've probably ever done in my life, but this is so, like, a vibe. I'm like, this is just what I want to do right now. I haven't got to... I want to see, like, go back and see, like, Casey Jones and stuff on there, too.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, seeing him in Shredder's Revenge, I'm like, oh, this dude's, like...
Oh, I love Casey Jones.
I forgot about, like, how much of that show I don't remember, because that show lasted till 1996. And it's got like 11 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I don't know how far I'm gonna make it through the box set, but I'm gonna kind of try and keep going until I get burned out. And yeah, I'm gonna enjoy the ride. And when I get burned out, I might move on to like 2003 Turtles or something. Like,
heck yeah!
if I get burned, if I find myself burning out, I'm just gonna move on to the next thing and enjoy that.
That's
like,
perfect.
So,
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm not going to try to watch every single episode of that original series because I know it's so long.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I'm going to have fun with it and enjoy it.
Heck yeah. We love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
I don't know what I was going to say. We're going to get into the TV news.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Froze for a second. I had a buffer.
Yeah.
A couple things. We'll be really quick about it because I wanted to get into kind of a discussion question.
Yeah.
And that is the Batman Caped Crusader, which is Bruce
Tim, yeah.
Bruce Timm.
Yep.
He made the original animated show.
Yeah.
He's producing the show. J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves. J.J. Abrams, obviously, a big name in Hollywood.
Yep.
And then Matt Reeves made the last Batman movie.
Yep.
So I like those names. That sounds really cool. This show is going to be moving to Amazon.
That's
HBO has dropped it,
weird.
but Amazon is picking it up.
I know Bruce Timm has been a little controversial lately, so I expect this to be dark.
Yes.
I expect this.
Yes, probably.
I expect it to be uncomfortable.
Okay.
It's supposed to be very noir.
Probably, yeah.
Neat.
Because it's supposed
I'm interested.
It's supposed to be kind of based on like the detective kind of influence, like of Batman kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Which makes sense for Matt Reeves too.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to see what this is going to be though.
Yeah. And then the other piece of news is that John Bernthal, he played Frank Castle, the Punisher, in Netflix's The Punisher and also in Daredevil. He's going to be making his return to Daredevil.
Yes.
Yeah. Super stoked about that, especially with the tone. Everyone's been so worried that they're going to really water down Daredevil, and I feel like this could bring him back.
They could
even
do
if he's
it.
a little bit more comedic. You still you can't make the Punisher like a happy-go-lucky guy.
Not that Moon
I'm
Knight.
really, really interested. And John Perthol's so passionate about that character that I can't imagine he would let it become comedy relief in any way.
I was going to say, like, not that Moon Knight. Like, I feel like, I don't know, like, not that it's really a good example, but I feel like being satisfied with, like, Moon Knight, I think, kind of gives me hope for, like, because you don't need super dark, bloody, rated R stuff, I think. And I think Moon Knight kind of proved that. Like, it just has to be kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Like, so, I think we're good with it.
The one thing that a lot of people are reporting, and I don't think they're reporting it accurately, is that Deborah Ann Woll and Eldon Henson, the headlines are saying that they are not returning. the news is they have not been announced. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to be announced.
They just haven't been confirmed yet.
I see.
Yeah. If you watch the Daredevil series, they are main characters, Foggy and Karen. And I don't think... A lot of people were bummed about it because they're like, oh, they're not respecting the material that this came from if they're not in it. And I don't think that's the case either. Like, they don't have to be part of the show.
Right.
I would be upset if they recast them in any way. They were so perfect for their characters.
I made the joke earlier that you could bring back Jon Favreau for Foggy, but I'm like, that'd be so stupid.
So we'll see. I'm really excited for Daredevil still, especially with all of the episodes that they're apparently going to be making with this thing. It literally looked like a typo. Wasn't it like 20-some episodes?
Yes, it's supposed to be something ridiculous like that, and I'm like, that's not a typo. I don't think I think it was a serious number.
I think it was 24.
I'm just like, dang, that's like a whole like primetime television season worth.
Yeah,
that's like Law and Order or something.
I think it will be. We'll see. And then Last of Us, we're gonna get into it a little bit. We won't talk too much on the actual content of the show, but there is a character in it, and that character. This is going to be a little spoilery. We have to dive into it at least a little bit.
He's from the game,
though. That character is the villain of that episode, and he also happens to be a Christian, and that is not something from the video game. They made a creative decision in making him a Christian character in the show, and so I know that Rainn Wilson, I believe Rainn Wilson tweeted that he thought. Let me find the actual post. It was interesting because it's not on his. If he did say it, it's no longer. He
might have removed it.
His Twitter. Which I assume that's what happened.
But he points out like how.
So a lot of people are talking about it. I found it. It says from Rainn Wilson. Rainn Wilson plays in The Office. He's an actor. I do think there's an anti-Christian bias in Hollywood. As soon as the David character in The Last of Us started reading from the Bible, I knew that he was going to be a horrific villain. Could there be a Bible-reading preacher on a show who is actually loving and kind? And we can kind of talk about... I don't think that's necessarily... Like, there are characters like that in the media. I think the last one that I remember seeing was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that is Mac. Mac and Quake have a conversation when Ghost Rider appears in that show on whether or not hell is real, because Ghost Rider's from hell.
Yeah.
And then there's a conversation of do they believe in God, and Mac believes in God, and he kind of just drops it there, like he's just I am a Christian, and then that's the conversation. And then on the other side of things, you have from way back, it's been a while, Shepard from Firefly, who I feel like is an amazing example of a Christian character. That's a positive, even though like that's his personality, is that he's a Christian.
Sure.
They show him in a good light. It's not,
right.
Light. But it is becoming a trope, or it has become a trope over the last 20, 30 years, that the Christian character is going to be this, like, he's Christian, so therefore he should be good, and how shocking is it that he's the big villain?
Yeah, it's like, isn't it crazy? It's like a hot take, but it's like, at this point, it's ice cold. Like, in this portrayal.
And I want to give credit, because I actually read that in the comment section of someone else's post. And so I always want to say their first name so that I can say the name was Steve. I don't know if he wants his name publicly blasted on the internet, but yeah, I read that from him and I was like, yeah, that's a really good point. I totally agree. So the question is, do you believe that Hollywood is on the attack against Christianity?
I also think Christians have a lot of believers have done it to themselves, honestly, in a lot of ways. Just because having been around fellow believers who I've seen be unkind and not the way the Bible tells us to be. But I just think like this trope, it is a classic trope, so I was not surprised in the slightest either. So I made a tweet of my own just to be like, it just was on my heart to be like, hey, like, just so you guys know, believers, the Christians and believers are not all this way. There are definitely probably, and most likely, yeah, there are definitely some out there who are not right, and just, have their own, ways of doing what is right or believing, what they want to believe like that, or being jerks like that. And I'm just like, but we're not all like that. And so, yeah, I felt the need to just say that. I'm like, basically, in short, I was like, not all Christians are nut jobs as much as the media wants you to believe.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, we're not all like that. Let me apologize.
Do you think that Hollywood is attacking that, or do you think it's just...
I don't think Hollywood is attacking it specifically. I think it's an easy thing to point to. Especially, like, I'm not trying to, like, speak out against anything per se, but it's like, in a world where Hollywood is going for all things all-inclusive, right? A lot of Christians, and a lot of, especially, I'll say this, like, mega church people and, people in power and on the pulpit or whatever, there's the people that are just like, oh, this thing is bad, it's sin, so obviously they're going to point towards the thing that isn't being all-inclusive. And I feel like, religion and Christianity in particular comes off as non-inclusive because, they're just going to shoo away people that don't agree with them in a lot of ways. Even though, in my mind, I'm like, we want you to come to church. We want you to come hang out with us. Like, I'm not, like, I want you to be a part of this, whether you decide to believe or not. That's your thing. But I want to invite you, to, like, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I know plenty of Christians have done it in the past, and we've given ourselves this bad rap, I'll say. And
I agree with that.
And that's kind of where I'm at with
I don't
it.
get into that. What about you, Shelley? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Hollywood is necessarily trying to, like, attack Christianity or whatever. I think a lot of folks think that. They're just like, oh, well, the media is out to get us, and
there's an agenda.
There's an agenda.
I
think it's just
to be all inclusive. Yeah.
I think it's just I think that, and I think it is really just an easy scapegoat, super easy scapegoat to just be like, I'm not going to understand Christians. I'm not going to understand what church is actually. So I'm just going to make up a person, and I'm going to follow this trope that has been perpetrated for like a long time now, and I'm just going to continue the trope.
Yeah,
like
it's lazy writing.
That's what I mean. It is straight up lazy writing, because it's like, no longer is there like, oh, well, why is this person like behaving this way? Why are they being so evil? Like, and they can make it really interesting, but a lot of times they're just like, well, he's a Christian, and he's whack. And it's like, okay. I think an important part of this conversation too is, who is this for? Because at this point, I've been thinking a lot about it, and I don't really know, because it's obviously Christians don't like it. I mean, personally, I don't really like when people, are always seeing Christians being portrayed as like evil and bad in media, because then I'm like, well, do they think I'm evil and bad? Or do they think that like everyone who's a Christian is evil and bad? It's not for those who actually have been harmed by the church, because a lot of this is going to be legitimately triggering for them. For those who have been legitimately abused or found trauma in a church setting or by another Christian, they don't want to see this either. This is triggering for them. This is going to pull up really, really bad thoughts for them. So this isn't for them either. This is seriously just for anybody who has no opinion on church or Christians in general or religion, and saying, hey, random person who has no opinion on this, we're going to give you an opinion, and we're going to make it bad. And we're going to make it look bad. And we're going to make you not want this because that's just what we want to do, and it's going to make us money, and it's lazy writing, and because making a complex character, especially one who's faithful, is really hard, and that's not something people want to do. Like, people will make just random characters believe kind of like anything, but a lot of times they won't make a random character a Christian. A lot of times that's just apparently does, even though like a lot of random people are just Christian, like you probably met hundreds of Christians and you just didn't know that they were Christian because you never cared to ask or they never brought it up. And so it's like, I kind of just get annoyed in that fact where it's like, it for me, it's such a core part of my identity, but it's not my entire personality, right? And I think that's the case for most Christians, at least many. Maybe I shouldn't speak on behalf of everybody, but that's where I'm missing in media, is that I kind of wish we did have more of that, of just a random flawed, not even perfect, maybe not even necessarily amazingly loving and like, what we should be as Christians. Like they're gonna just a regular flawed person, a regular guy or gal or person, and just have them this be like, oh yeah, they just happen to be Christian. That's just kind of like part of them and their identity as well. But it doesn't have to be the full personality, and nor does it have to be a scapegoat, nor does it have to be like a reason why this person's like evil. I just think like you can make really cool, interesting characters with like a faithful people who are really struggling and trying to like overcome like their own sin, or maybe trying to reconcile with certain things. Like you can make really cool, deep characters in that way, but they just don't want to do that because, again, it's lazy writing. They'd rather go with lazy writing that they know already works and has been proven to work. They'd rather just do that than actually work, right? And I think they saw this and they're like, well, there's a lot of people watching this. We know our audience. And we think that it would make people happier if this was a Christian who was doing these evil things rather than just a random bad person. And trying to make that the point instead of the actual point of the scene. I didn't watch the show, but I know the game, and I know the point of that in the game. And it's the fact that they would try to make him a Christian is so absurd to me, because I feel like it actually takes away from the point of the actual scene. Now people are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Christian's bad," rather than like, "What's the effect this has on this character?" and like how they're gonna develop and how they're gonna act in the future. It's just it derives. I don't know what's the word for that, but
so.
What were you going to say?
To me, this, it makes me think, I hope this gets included in a future season, because there is a conversation that's related to faith. Like, to me, this is why, this is why I think this is lazy writing while you're so on the money. Like, because it doesn't, the writing in the game is so much better. And then you have people that are also working on the show alongside Neil Druckmann that are very Hollywood oriented, right? Mm-hmm. Because Neil Druckmann is actually the producer of the show too. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's like they, even the things I don't agree with, like obviously the themes and stuff that are in there within the game and the show or whatever, even the stuff I don't agree with is very respectable, very well written. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That seems like real life. Yeah. Whereas this necessarily does not. But it makes me hope that there's a particular small conversation that I hope ends up in a future season, because I would really love that, because to me it was a genuine conversation. Mm-hmm. Like this person that obviously has their own issues and their own stuff, but they still have some kind of background in faith. Mm-hmm. And the conversation is about, does it work or not? And then they're like, well, it helped me, kind of a thing. So it's just like, it would be really interesting for that conversation to take place in the show next season, especially after this. So I wonder if they will touch on that.
That would be very interesting to see.
I would really love for them to.
Totally forgotten that he wasn't a Christian in the video game.
Right.
So I was completely unbothered by it. I'm just so used to it, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
A few thoughts that I had on it were, Shelley, you'd mentioned the money. And I think that's a big reason, is it's not necessarily Hollywood attacking, but the people that are making this movie are the ones with a lot of money. And it seems like a lot of the times now, the people with a lot of money are usually not Christians.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make that like as a broad statement, but just in Hollywood, if you look at who it is, there's just a lot of creative leaders that they just don't believe. And so I think if they're making the decisions, then they're going to make non-Christian decisions. And that just makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
And could be why, they're kind of blind to the idea that like not everyone watching is going to relate to this the way that they may. Because I think the United States, like, it has to be still the biggest faith in the United States would be Christianity.
Yeah.
So to just completely ignore that. I also think the church needs to kind of look inward a little bit at, it's been so long, and so we kind of forget like where the church is now, and I think the church has grown a lot. But you look at like the 80s and 90s kind of like when this trope started. The church has always kind of been like a, look how great it is over here, you should join us. Look how perfect everything can be if you're a Christian. How much better life can be if you're a Christian. And that's oftentimes the message you sprouted out like the prosperity gospel.
It's not as inviting as like they kind of really want it to be.
Yeah, and the prosperity gospel, I mean, is its own thing, but even outside of the prosperity gospel, it's still like, your life would be better if.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's really easy to see that that's not completely accurate. For Christians, you know, we're promised something after this life. And the message should be that God will help you through the storms, not that the storms are going to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not always the message that's conveyed by the general church, especially in the United States over the last 30 or 40 years. And so I think it's really easy for someone who's trying to make commentary on the church to look at us and say, you're not perfect. We're going to put a spotlight on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's kind of where it started, was just
trying to call out the hypocrisy and trying to call out the
calling out the hypocrisy.
And also like just
and
there's an unfortunate history in you know, especially like Catholic churches of abuse, just straight up abuse.
Yeah.
Like that just is a thing in a lot of churches. And so being able to exposing that is really good. That's a really good thing to expose, because that needs to be exposed. And there's still, even today, just circles of abuse happening in a lot of churches that are being, you know, trying to get revealed, and the people in power are saying, no, we don't want this revealed. It's really awful. And I'm so sorry for any listeners who have to like directly deal with that, even indirectly deal with that. Because that's just not what church is supposed to be. But that too, it's like, it comes from a place where it's like, well, no, we're going to call it your hypocrisy. We're going to call you out because you're trying to say life is perfect. If you make this decision, it's not. And you're trying to hide this, you know, abusive power that you have over your followers, basically from like a pastor to their followers, because that's where a lot of those sort of abuse, you know, where it comes in, kind of that abusive power. So like it kind of comes from that, and it's like, okay, that's legitimate in a lot of ways, but now it's sort of turned into like, well, one, the church is a really weird term because every church is so different, and like there's different denominations, and there's like the Catholic Church, but then there's also like the Presbyterian Church, there's the Baptist Church, there's Southern Baptist Church, like there's so many different churches. And so I think that also makes this whole trope even more annoying and just weaker in general, of like, oh yeah, well, like the church and Christians, it's like literally every Christian's like different and every church is different. So that's like also a thing. Whereas I feel like, I don't know, I wasn't around in the 80s or 90s. Well, technically I was around for a little bit in the 90s. But so I didn't really get to see to observe it for myself. But I think you're right, where it's like prosperity gospel was like very much like a thing, and that was spread in a lot of churches. And so it was kind of like oh, you can kind of call it out in that way. And now I'm like, well, churches are so diverse now in both their beliefs and the people in them, in the locations, like, and whether or not they should be, who knows, right? That's a whole other conversation. But they are. And so it's kind of like when you're trying to call out the church, you're kind of like, well, who are you calling out? Because a lot of churches aren't like that. And a lot of people, a lot of believers aren't like that. So it kind of makes the argument a little bit weirder, especially for regular people who actually talk to their neighbors or coworkers or friends, who inevitably are going to find Christian friends and be like, hey, you're actually a normal person. So it's like it's like a tired trope is an overused trope. And I'm really just hoping people are kind of trying to see that it's like, it's really just not accurate anymore. Not that people aren't perfect, and not that, like, again, there's still circles of abuse and trauma that happens in churches, which is really awful. And like, we as Christians should be the ones sort of addressing that first. But I just think it's sort of like it's no longer a hot take, right? And no longer is even necessarily like an accurate take in some ways, right? There's always the really, really bad folks out there, but yeah. And
I don't want anyone to hear me and be like, so Cody's blaming the church for this. Hollywood.
Like, that's what I was trying to say.
That's definitely not what I'm saying. I just think that I guess I'm justifying a little bit like where they could be coming from. I'm not necessarily justifying what they're doing. I'm just kind of explaining, I guess.
Yeah.
It
always comes from somewhere, and it used to be at one point. It was sort of like the hot take.
Is 100% on
us.
us.
I think I agree.
You know, like if we want this to stop in any way, then it, that needs to be us. And I don't, boycotting and stuff is whatever, but I think that things like Jesus Revolution, which is doing really well in the box offices,
that's right,
which is cool, and stuff like The Chosen, and just making good content like that. And then it's just getting more Christians in Hollywood, right? If you get more of the people that are of Christian influence. We talked to Doug Jones a little bit a couple weeks ago, and you have like Chris Pratt, Zachary Levi. When those voices are in Hollywood, you get a little bit more of a brighter side of Christianity, or at least not a full-on hatred of Christianity.
Yeah, at least neutral. We're at least shooting for neutral. Like, that's our baseline, right? We gotta just get up to there.
I think that depends on us. I think that's, as the church, we need to...
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's a spot that we need to reach out to a little bit more. And that seems far out of reach for some of us, but I know there are others out there that are like, I have a friend in Hollywood that I probably could be talking to.
Yeah, and even just, like, even smaller creators, right? It's like, again, kind of to go back to, like, the Level Up event, like, there's a lot of really awesome Christian creators out there, and, streamers and YouTubers, and, like, we have, like, Joe Morgan, who used to podcast with us, and him and his wife do Coffee Adventure. They're Christian creators, right? And there's, like, so it's like, you can go out and support them, too, and they're not always necessarily sort of leading with, like, hey, we're talking about how I'm a Christian. Hey, we're talking about, like, Jesus right now. A lot of their content is just kind of, like, normal for normal people. And they end up being... But they do get to sort of kind of have that, more positive perspective that hopefully is going to be able to reach people and be like, hey, like, I could just create content that makes people happy and be a Christian. Yeah. Like, that doesn't have to conflict.
I look at Craig Rochelle. He's the pastor of Life Church, the church that I go to. And he's got almost 40 locations now.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he's huge. The YouVersion Bible app, his church designed that app. I mean, he has made huge waves in Christian culture and in Christianity as a whole. But before all of that, he was just a guy at college that was handed a Bible from a Gideon's person.
Oh, wow.
And, like, at that point, he was just, like, a random dude.
Yeah.
And so you never know what creating a relationship with someone, a friendship with someone, and being an example of Christ in their life could do. Because like Craig did all that, but technically the guy that handed him the Bible did all of that. Technically, God did all of that by doing something really small too. And so don't think that your impact is small, because you never know what it could spread out to be.
What seeds you plant and sort of thing. And even just look at the gospel. All of his disciples were kind of losers. You know what I mean? Like, they were all kind of like, they're just random guys for the most part. So that's also just kind of a point of inspiration. It's like, you could just be a random person, and someone you influence could just be a random person, and it could turn into something really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm kind of getting off on a tangent.
Yeah. That's what we do.
Any other thoughts?
I think that's it. I have other things I could say, but I'm just gonna like keep it. I'm good. No, I'm good right now.
I think we've talked enough.
We will end the podcast there then.
Yeah.
LJ, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch at LJ the Paladin.
And Shelley?
You can find me on Twitter at TheShellshock24.
Awesome. You can find me on Instagram at Cody Armour and at twitch.tv/Geeks Under Grace on Wednesdays. For like an hour lately, but it's an hour.
So. Cool.
Yeah.
Keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter, or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.